Um, what are your thoughts? What are the Bucs? What can they do? I mean, what happens from here?
Well, totally get it from Devin White's perspective. I think the timing's a little odd, right? I think that Greg Allman tweeted this out. It's strange that he would officially demand a trade now, after like a month after free agency started. So now there's not a lot of teams that have the cap flexibility to trade for him, even if they wanted to. You probably got to wait a while into the summer, and by that time, you're probably coming back to the Bucs anyways. So it feels like unless there's going to be a deal that gets done on draft night, which again, that's also difficult because the contract details would probably have to be worked out if you're making a deal on draft night. So it's kind of the timing of it's kind of a mess. But for Devin, it makes sense because he was top 5 overall pick, right, at the position. So you have already invested a lot of draft capital into this one player. So you don't want to cut him for nothing. You don't want to lose him for nothing, and he's playing that as leverage. Won a Super Bowl with the team, and during that playoff run, he was pretty damn good during that Super Bowl run. So obviously, there's been a lot of up and down play around that, but you're capitalizing off of that, off of being a key part of why they won a Super Bowl. The current head coach Todd Bowles, we know,
Loves them.
likes Devin White a lot, and he believes in Devin White a lot, and he puts him in important situations because he believes in the talent, he believes in the athletic ability. So you have the draft capital backing you. You have, I guess, some moments that you could certainly point to justify you getting paid early. And you have a head coach that feels like he's pivotal to what they do on that defense. So all of that is to his advantage, where he just goes, yeah, I don't want to play in the 5th year option. I want the guarantees. I want the new contract. I want all of that. Totally makes sense from Devin White's perspective. It makes zero sense from the Buccaneers' perspective to cave on it, to get a deal done. The thing that honestly, if he is going to hold firm and say, I want to trade or I'm not going to play in the 5th year option, the most advantageous path for the Buccaneers is absolutely to trade him. Like instead of having to pay a linebacker, which I'm not as harsh on linebackers as a lot of other people are. I do still think it's a pivotal position, especially for somebody that has a lot of responsibility. But a lot of the responsibility in this Bucs defense falls on Lavonte David. And that's not to say that Devin White doesn't do anything pre-snap or any of the communications or anything in coverage, but let's face it, Devin White is at his best when he is allowed to play free, play athletic, and basically is just see ball, get ball, and be a blitzing linebacker. He is allowed to do that because of the responsibility that Lavonte David shoulders next to him. So if you figure Lavonte might not be on the team for that much longer, even though I hope he retires a Buccaneer, are you going to be 1 or 2 years into a massive 5-year, $100 million deal with Devin White and think that he's going to pick up the responsibility that Lavonte David had? Because if you are, it's not going to be great. And I think you're going to be paying a linebacker and it's going to be a sunken cost for you. So instead of having to pay a linebacker $100 million, you might be able to get 3rd, 4th round pick for him. Probably what you would get in a comp pick if you let him walk anyways. So it all kind of depends where you believe the Bucs are right now. I think the Bucs are more of a rebuilding team than a competing team right now. So if that's the case, you're not looking to pay a linebacker $100 million. So that's my thoughts overall on Devin White.
Isn't it a slippery slope though, Trevor? Because yes, me and Sammer talked about this yesterday. The Bucs have all the leverage, right? Because they can literally say, "Hey, we're not going to pay you, and we're going to hold you that 5th year option, and we can tag you 2 more times." We hold all the cards. But if he does hold out and he becomes, detrimental or, a distraction to the team, don't they lose leverage then? Because other teams are like, we're not going to fucking pay you anything for him because we know you're going to have to just release him, or I'll give you a fucking 5th rounder or a 6th rounder because clearly he's not coming back.
Yeah, but they might release him eventually, but it's not like they'd release him now. It's not like they'd release him this season. If he wants to sit and say, I'm not going to play on the 5th year option, I think the Bucs would firmly be like, okay, fine. Just don't show up, take the fines. We don't have to pay the game checks. And
Essentially, he would have to come back and play again anyway.
Right, and he can just sit. So I don't think the leverage.
And they could tag him after that, right? If they wanted.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I don't think the leverage is that strong against them, even if he sits. because I still think the conversations are going to go on. And I still think there's a lot of people around the NFL, a lot of defense coordinators, a lot of head coaches that would love a Devin White. And he is a super athletic linebacker. Like, again, when you allow him to play downhill, he brings you some value.